Big shout out to the mod squad. We got Blaze. We got Thomas. We got Big Mike, Darius, Pete, Jose, Joeseph, Tech Twan. Good to see you all. Caleb is here. Vincent, Joey, Danny, MS, My Daily Side, Josh. Good to see you guys. Chaim, Anthony, Rashad, and Ron. Adam, my brother Key. Good to have you guys. Ryan, BG Grizzly, the homie. What else we got here? Marc, Totally Techno Tim. Good to have you guys. Got Gregory here. Good to see you, bud. Ron. Oh, snap. We got Moose. What up, Moose? How you doing? Joey. Lapu. Good to see you. My brother John is here. Yeah. Willie. Latrell. Sofak. Chaz. Good to see you guys. I think that's mostly everybody. Francois. Ismael. LT Dunn. Hey, good to see you. Glad you could make it. GS is here as well. Let's go ahead and get the show started. Man, I got a ton of topics, and I'm gonna try to squeeze it all into an hour. It's gonna take a little bit of work to squeeze it all into 1 hour, and then still try to cover everything with some depth. See, it's easy to, scratch the surface of things, but you got to get a little detail. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Let's start the show. Yeah. There we go. What up, y'all? I see you guys. Appreciate you for being here. What do we got? The Sunday edition of the podcast, March 7th, 2021. Appreciate you guys for stopping by, and I appreciate your support. Thank you to all who shared this already. Appreciate you guys so much. I know Tyrone from Tech Life, I want to appreciate or show some appreciation for you sharing that as well. You got a big reach, and that definitely does help my channel, so I want to thank you. And he's been on the show before, so he is a member of the community in my eyes that supports my channel, so I want to thank him for that. Big shout out to Tyrone from Tech Life. Check him out on YouTube's. He's also on Twitter. Tech Life channel. No Verizon hoodie. That's right. Majorly disappointed. Come on, man. I know. Am I competing with the All-Star game tonight? Is that what's going on? I don't know. There's a lot of things going on. I'm going to try to compete with NBA All-Star Weekend. All right. You can begin now. I'm in pocket. All right, Lavendi, let's do it, man. All right, let's just go ahead and start with story number 1. All right. So story number 1, this one is actually out of Verizon. This one has to do with the Bluegrass Cellular acquisition. So with every network, there comes a time where you have to make decisions about expansion and growth and getting the network larger. For a lot of the carriers and for much of the U.S., it's pretty much matured, right? It's not on the to-do list for all the carriers. For example, I feel like it's a foregone conclusion that AT&T continues to build out and expand its network because of the FirstNet contract. But Verizon is not motivated to do so. I mean, they've got a pretty big network as it stands. And then T-Mobile's not really motivated to do so. Although I feel like it's a segment of consumer that a lot of companies could exploit by growing out the network. But unfortunately, they don't see the return of investment when you expand the network to rural America. You're not serving as many customers. You don't typically have a lot of people that are connecting that are heavily invested into the network. So, like I said, the return of investment is hard to kind of quantify and validate. So what the Bluegrass Cellular acquisition does for Verizon is it gives them a native footprint. And it's going to obviously have to clear FCC regulations. But on the business side, the deal is done, and they'll benefit from this transaction. Verizon really wanted this deal for strategic assets, obviously. The deal itself, Bluegrass is a regional carrier in Kentucky. It's a Kentucky-based wireless operator. I think they serve 210,000 customers or something like that, something in that range. The network covers 34 counties within Kentucky and offers them an instant coverage footprint that becomes native. I'm not sure if they had roaming agreements there with Bluegrass. I'm not sure how that worked. I think they did, because when I was doing a little bit of research, I found that they have a pre-existing relationship dating back to like 2012 or 2013, which pushes it back to like the beginning of the LTE era. And, not that that network would have been fast or expansive at the time, but it would have given them native footprint in Kentucky, in the state, for a majority of the state. 34 counties is nothing to sneeze at. For example, if I looked at the number of counties in the state of Ohio, that's a large chunk of the state. So I feel pretty good about this move for Verizon as a coverage enhancement. Wow. Thomas, I appreciate that super chat. That's an incredible super chat. Thank you for that. That's really, really amazing. Thank you. It's a very generous super chat. He says, love the content. Great to be part of such a great community now. Looking forward to all your future content. Thank you, Thomas. We welcome you. Thanks for being a supporter on Patreon. Thank you for that enormous super chat. Just to let you know, Thomas, that any of these, super chats and supports do go to my daughter's college fund. Obviously, I'm employed. I'm a school teacher. I have a decent wage. I have a good job. I have a great career. I feel like I have a noble profession, and I don't need the money per se, right? Like, because, my employment is steady. I love what I do. I'm blessed, in that way. But whatever support and donations anybody makes here on the channel does go to Yasmin's college fund. So it's an incredible donation, and I appreciate it very much. Caleb, thanks for that too, man. You guys are amazing, man. Thanks for that super chat. He said, for N41, man, may his cape be long and his arms be strong. So basically, I got to make a T-shirt that has that on it. I think that's going to stick, man. Wow. I feel like I have a cape somewhere. Like one of my students, like 5 years ago, gave me a cape. I'm just going to have to get N41 plastered on it, and then we'll call it a day. Oh, man. Hey, Joshua. Good to see you, man. Trucker Todd says, I wish you could find out when AT&T will start allowing unlocked phones to use Wi-Fi calling. AC voice on the network. Yeah, I mean, these are things we could talk about later. So if you guys want to, ask questions, try to keep it to the topics. Try not to derail the convo. When you come into the live chat, when you come into the video or the live streams, kind of feel out what the conversation's about. And if you have something to say about the topic, then, chime in or ask. But if you want to kind of like ask other things, then we can kind of do that at the end. Just don't forget, write it down or try to remember, and I'll address it at the end as I go through the show. So to kind of wrap things up about the Bluegrass Cellular deal, Alexis, good to see you. Gene, good to see you as well. Thank you for being here. Shannon, see you. Let's see here. Back to the network. So the Bluegrass Cellular Network covers 34 counties, instant coverage footprint for Verizon. The Bluegrass customers will probably get in on some newer plans. I'm assuming they'll get upgraded to some more Verizon-based plans. So I'm not sure when or how they're going to do that transition, but they probably will. More perks, more native coverage for them, maybe LTE home internet or something along those lines. So that's kind of interesting to see how that would play out. I think about some of the perks that Verizon Wireless customers currently have, like the Hulu subscription, the Disney Plus bundle, ESPN Plus. Maybe you can get a phone deal, right? You can convince them to give you like a newer Android or an iPhone possibly to get you switched over to a more compatible device, things like that. Now, it's not a game changer, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the acquisition of Bluegrass Cellular is going to completely change everybody's life across the country. Obviously, it's not, but it makes Verizon's life easier. And the reason I say that is because now they don't have to build out native, right? And now they don't have to pay Bluegrass for the usage when Verizon customers are on the network. So it's a network shortcut. It obviously allows them to get a solid network footprint in an area that has not been covered by them previously and keeps them away from paying, roaming charges and roaming data. Bluegrass Cellular does have a home internet product, from what I understand, that offers a lot of coverage in these areas. The home internet has been live since 2013. I believe they're operating at over 700 megahertz spectrum, which means it's low band. It's called Get Set Go service. I think at launch it covered like somewhere in the neighborhood of like 700,000 people, something along those lines. The speeds at the time of launch, get this, guys, back in 2013, 12 megabits per second on the downlink, up to 5 megabits per second on the uplink. I don't know what it is today. I don't know if they've upgraded that service or what has happened since then. I don't know if it's going to change or anything. I don't know. But this is good. You know, it's like I said, it's good for people on Bluegrass. It's good for people on Verizon. It adds an instant network footprint. And, you know, we're hoping that it manifests itself into something that boosts customer coverage. And obviously, it's probably going to help Verizon's pockets long term. And, you know, they don't have to build out native network. It's already there for them. Instant. It's like instant pudding. You just add water and you got network, right? So that's kind of how I see it, and that's what I think they were doing there. All right. Oh, Shane, thanks for the super chat. He said, I love the content and the honest opinions. Do you think U.S. Cellular could help any of the carriers or that any would be interested? Honestly, I'm not sure what U.S. Cellular wants to do. U.S. Cellular seems pretty content on competing as their own carrier. I don't know if they really want to help anybody. I'm sure if they have native coverage where the other carriers don't, they're willing to make a roaming agreement or a roaming deal. So I think those types of things will continue. I just don't know other than that, what they're into. They're not looking at selling out. They're not looking at an acquisition or some kind of a deal to get bought out or anything like that. So I mean, they're going to build out millimeter wave. I saw a story on that. They did buy some C-band, so they're competing. So in my opinion, should they decide they want to grow on their own, they'll continue to deploy their own networking, try to gain their own customers, and do it their own way. And as a business that wants to compete, I don't think you can ask for anything more than that. Thomas says, U.S. Cellular is amazing in Wisconsin, even have millimeter wave rolling out. Exactly. Precisely, Thomas. They have no interest in selling out. They want to compete. I really wish they never actually sold out some of their markets previously. I know they had coverage in other areas and they kind of gave up their retail footprint and such. So I wish they would have kept that, knowing that they were going to compete again later. But what are you going to do, you know? So yeah. One quick little update. This one actually has to do with what are we at here? Starlink. Okay, so I just viewed the most updated Starlink map, and the map was actually the satellite map, where the satellites are located, how many they got deployed, and orbiting. Okay, so the Starlink service is actually going to help a lot of people. I think from a global standpoint, the spots that are marked currently for Starlink indicate multiple points across all continents. So there are people who currently live in Africa, Asia, Europe, South America, North America. There are people everywhere across this world that are going to utilize Starlink, and it's going to be a game changer for them. There are parts of this world that have absolutely no infrastructure for internet, and a lot of their web connectivity is either limited or absent in extended areas across the globe. So the problem that we've had up to this point is we've had these huge expectations for Starlink, and they have not mass scale launched their satellites yet. That's really the only thing. So the more satellites that get up into orbit, the more coverage Starlink can offer, and the more capacity they can offer. So it's twofold. It's kind of like tower sites, right, in that respect. The tower sites need to be grand scale launched. They have to be built. They have to be upgraded. They need capacity. They need density. They need many locations and such. It's not any different, right? So when I look at what they're doing in terms of scale, I think it's going to be a great product. I think it's going to be a great service. In the United States, I think a lot of people are going to be leaving HughesNet and Viasat and whatever satellite providers are out there. And it's going to enable a lot of people who had very horrible DSL experience from regional carriers and very trash experience like I have with Cox Communications. And it gives people another option. And Not to say that it's a perfect service. I can't say that. Right? There are things that are kind of going to push some people away. For example, it's $99 a month for the service. That prices some people out. For example, if you have a budget and your current provider offers you $50 per month for whatever service you're asking for, maybe this prices you out. Or maybe you're getting, 500 megabits per second by 50 megabits per second, and you're paying $60 per month. Well, the thing about the Starlink is it's probably only going to get you 150 to 300 megabits, downlink speed. So it's not going to outperform a lot of people's cable providers or fiber. So the issue is going to be pretty simple. If it is better than what you currently have, and it's within that same kind of price range, well, then it becomes a reliable option or a viable option. And then for people who don't have good options, like those with satellite providers who haven't really upgraded or done much to improve the service, or they're overpriced, or they just underperform, Starlink becomes very good. And honestly, I know that I'm getting AT&T fiber. If I didn't know that I was getting AT&T fiber, this would be on the top of my list. I would have already signed up for the beta test. I would have already put in my deposit, and I would have got it. Because I can't take Cox Communications anymore. I filed a formal FCC complaint on them because of the lack of competency as an infrastructure ISP. Their inability to actually properly manage the failures of the service at my residence cannot be tolerated. So it had to happen, and that's the way it is. People are looking for options to get away from companies that fail them or are too expensive or underperform. So this becomes legitimate as a competitor. I'm telling you guys, there are people, not just in rural, although this is specifically designed for rural America, places where they don't have infrastructure. But I'm telling you, there are people that are going to be more than willing to want to try this service and see what's going on. They're going to invest into it. Obviously, there's going to be some investment. So besides the $99 price point, you got to pay $500 a month for the tech, right, for the gear. So we're talking about the satellite dish, all the wiring, your receiver and stuff like that. So, hey, it's going to take some money to get into it, but I think once you get it, it's going to be a nice option for you. So by the end of this year, there's going to be a lot of movement, and there's going to be a lot of expansion of the Starlink product and service. I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be really good. Very excited about it. All right. We're about, 26 minutes in here? Let's take a look at this next thing, and this is just kind of a public service announcement. Hey, what's up, Big Lou? Good to see you, man. Appreciate you for coming through. Look, I am very understanding of everybody's situation. Everybody wants to come into the videos and give their opinions, and I respect that. In fact, I encourage people to comment in my videos. I'm not trying to silence anybody. Hashtag Ravioli Gang. Latrell, yeah, buddy. Hey, Ryan. I'm not trying to silence anyone. I'm not trying to hide anyone. I'm not trying to ban anyone. That is not my intention. If you're not a troll, if you're a decent person and you just want to get on conversation and discourse and comment, I'm okay with that. I'm with that. But let me offer you a public service announcement so you know how to conduct yourself within the comment section of my videos. The first thing I want to say, if you are an investor of wireless telecommunications companies, so let's say you've got stocks and shares in AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile, or you're an employee of one of those companies and you love the company you work for and you love the company you invest in. And look, all I'm saying is when you come into the comments section and you are blatantly shilling, you might get blocked. And it might not even be from me. I have moderators on my channel who have been entrusted in doing the right thing in the comments section. If there's bickering, if there's shilling, if there's shameless advertising and trolling, they're going to ban you. I'm not trying to ban anyone. I'm not trying to shut anyone up. I'm just letting you know if my moderators or myself perceive you as doing such, they're going to ban you, and they're going to hide you, and they're going to remove your comments. So unfortunately, you must abide by the unwritten rules of the SMT Nation, which is be objective, be honest and forthright, and truthful in what you're saying, and understand that we're going to be, monitoring these things. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. One of the things is that I've said time and time again, I have been monitoring the commentary on my channel, on my videos. And now I have someone, and this is the first time this has happened. So again, tread lightly. There is actually somebody, and you know who you are. There is somebody who is commenting very negatively about hardware companies like Ericsson and Samsung, and they're giving big ups to Nokia. Clearly, he is an investor of Nokia. Don't come onto my videos and try to swing people to invest in Nokia. What are you doing? Don't do that. It's ridiculous. You're not going to get people to invest in Nokia because you're saying how incredible Nokia products are and how incredible their antenna technology is. It's absolutely absurd to think that you would even legit swing anybody's opinion from that. It is incredible. Stop it. Don't do that. I don't care about Nokia. I don't care about Ericsson. Not in the sense that you do. If you do these things, and you know who you are because I already told you and I warned you, if you continue to do this, you will get the ban hammer. You'll be hidden and your voice will be silenced on the page. Look, that's all I'm saying. Just be normal. Can we be normal, please? Hashtag be normal. My goodness. Oh, man. All right, so that'll be pretty good if you guys follow those rules. I didn't want to make it, I don't want to take too long or be too negative or any of that stuff. So, yeah. Actually, speaking of which, this is a good pivot here. All right, so this next story. All right, good. This next story is coming out of Ericsson. I think you guys will dig it. This is a little bit technical, but I think this will offer a little bit of insight into some networking and stuff. Just to kind of, as a network update, Ericsson has a big-time radio innovation, and I'm sure that guy who was shilling for Nokia is going to love this. All right, Ericsson has a big-time radio innovation that is really going to push 5G networking to the next level and to large, very tall heights this year and moving into next year. They have 3 new mid-band 5G radios and 6 RAN compute solutions that are going to be available to carriers by the end of this year. That sounds to me like CBRS and C-band. So if you're a Verizon wireless customer, if you are an AT&T customer, if you are a T-Mobile customer, if you're a Dish customer, all that stuff is going to be a big piece of what's going on moving forward. All right? The focus here is going to be small footprint. These antennas are going to be super small in terms of antenna size, like relatively speaking. Less weight, less power consumption. That's what carriers want. These are massive MIMO, multiple input, multiple output antennas. One of the radios, specifically of those 3, is going to be completely industry leading. It's going to have a mass of 20 kilograms, which puts it under about 50 pounds. That's a really light antenna. All right, so what we're going to be seeing here is a reduced size, a reduced weight, which is going to reduce the capital investment or CapEx of the company. And then it's going to reduce operational costs for the network operators. These hardware components will shine in the urban city setting. High rises, rooftop sites, small cells. It's going to be big time. The antennas apparently are going to have two different arrays, which are going to be including and capable of 200 megahertz bandwidth each. One of them is capable of 400 megahertz bandwidth each. So, guys, we're going to see tons of capacity. We're talking about probably, if we're talking 400 megahertz of midband, we're talking about multi-gig speed from these antennas. So we're going to be seeing these in the range of 20 to 27 kilograms of weight. This is about 50% lighter than last year's antenna technologies. Also, they've developed new basebands for indoor usage and applications. So we're going to be seeing these network upgrades indoors and outdoors. They're going to have outdoor hardware basebands as well. They're going to be 50% faster than the last generation, and they're going to consume 20% less power. This all means that there's going to be more spectrum efficiency, reduced cost of operation, and we're going to be seeing speeds getting faster, greater scale upgrades because the carriers can save money. They can reinvest more and get more bang for the buck. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile can stretch their money a lot further with these types of innovations, and they'll be able to make their networks better and better, which means we gain and benefit. Very exciting news for the wireless customer across all carriers. I don't really see how anybody loses here. If you're a Verizon customer, if you're an AT&T customer, if you're a T-Mobile customer, I think pretty much everybody's going to benefit from this. I was super excited when I read this. I know it's kind of nerdy and it's kind of geeky. Like, why would anybody care about Ericsson upgrades? But this is what the wireless carriers are looking for. You know what I'm saying? This is what the people want to see. If you're an engineer, if you are, part of these engineering teams, you probably already know about this. You know what I mean? D. Harris says, current bandwidth for Ericsson is still 100 megahertz. These new antennas are going to be a big deal. You're going to go from 100 to 200 in two of those antenna arrays, and one of them is going to go to 400. Because if you think about it, I think about Verizon. Verizon is going to be operating 60 to 90 megahertz, or actually no, 60 to 100 megahertz of CBRS and like 140 to 200 megahertz of C-band. So they're gonna need these actually, and they don't have. See, Verizon doesn't have a contract with Nokia moving forward. I think they pretty much bailed on Nokia, so they're all in with Samsung and Ericsson. So they kind of needed this. Be on the lookout for upgrades coming to your town at the end of the year for these antennas. This is big time. I'm super excited about it. Seriously, guys. Big capacity is on the way, and now we got the hardware news to go with it. Yeah, those antennas are going to bring huge capacity. If you live in New York, if you live in Chicago, the CLE, these areas are going to get these upgrades first. LA, Dallas, Houston, San Francisco. The big towns are going to get it. Phoenix, obviously. But eventually, these upgrades are coming to the smaller cities, too. Because Verizon has big market share in a lot of places. They are the number one carrier when it comes to size. So definitely. Let's actually pivot a little bit here. We're about, 37 minutes in. All right, good. We're making good time because we got a couple more topics still to cover. The Apple portless phones. We got to talk about this. All right. Unfortunately, and actually I don't know if it's unfortunately. You might be into this. You guys can let me know in the live. At the end of this, type a 1 if you're cool with it. Type a 2 if you're not cool with it. So hear me out. Apple is reportedly in testing phases of testing and working on portless iPhones. And by portless, that basically means no more charging port. You get what I'm saying? So, as somebody who repairs iPhones, I just did a repair actually. I think about the recovery and the restoration solutions. How are they going to restore the operating system if the operating system fails and you have no port? Like, what is that going to be like? How are you going to restore the OS or connect it so that it can recover whatever data? I mean, don't get me wrong, I love cloud solutions. I think they're incredible. It's really hard to beat the convenience and the ease and all of that. But they're in legit testing phases of a portless iPhone. At least one model of the iPhone 13s is rumored to be portless. So let's say, like, I don't know if there's like 3 iPhone 13s. So like a 13, a 13 Pro, a 13 Pro Max. Let's say that that's how it works out. They're saying at least one of them is going to be portless. If that's the case, that is a direct indication that all of them are going to end up portless anyways. But there's been rumors of this for a while. And, I mean, think about it. Think about, like, what's been going on at Apple. All right, so Apple got rid of the headphone jack. Apple has stayed on with the lightning cable. They have not migrated over to USB Type-C on their iPhones. They have with their, I think, MacBooks and then their iPad Pros and stuff like that. But honestly, when you think about how they got rid of the charging brick, you know, it almost feels like they're preparing us and conditioning us to get rid of the port. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. They introduced this MagSafe charging solution this year as a wireless option. So MagSafe is now officially a thing. They're charging, I think, like $40 for it. Kind of pricey, you know. And it's really not that great of a charging solution in my estimation. I think they would, you know, it would have been better if they had a better solution. But who knows what the situation is there, if they'll make it and, you know, enhance it, innovate and make a better way to do it, less heat, more efficient charging. We'll see how that plays out. But you think about going portless and how there's going to be recovery and restoration. How do they do software and firmware and having, you know, someone with data issues on their OS? You know, are they going to use the MagSafe for that? I thought about that, actually. Could they find a way to restore operating systems through MagSafe and things like that? Obviously, it's going to be a cloud-based solution if they don't. They're talking about doing it through the Apple Watch, which is crazy. You're going to restore the operating system through the Apple Watch connected to the phone? I don't know how that would work, but they're saying that that's actually in development, and they're calling it Internet Recovery. It's got a name. I guess it's been found in the code, and they're calling it recovery mode. So Internet Recovery and recovering mode. I don't know. They going to do it effectively through Bluetooth? Can they do it through Wi-Fi? The rumor is, and this is complete speculation, this is all speculative. We can't confirm any of this. You guys know how Apple is. The rumor is that there's going to be a hidden port behind the SIM card location of the phone, and that's going to be the backup plan, at least in the early on. Apple is testing a slew of recovery methods through all of this. But guys, I think we could be pretty confident. Apple's getting rid of the cord, and they're getting rid of the port. And man, that was really fast. We went from getting rid of the headphone jack and getting rid of, you know, the cables and getting rid of the charging bricks, and now we got MagSafe. And it looks like cord no more for the charging, no more port. I don't have any confidence in any of this in terms of who is reporting it and how they're going to develop it. I just know that it won't make a difference to the customer. Anybody who has an iPhone here in the live stream or on replay, #ReplayGang, you're not going to stop buying Apple products because they don't have a cord or a port, right? They're going to offer you a solution to deal with the problem. They'll innovate some kind of a solution. So it's not really going to change what you do as a customer because you're locked into the Apple ecosystem. You get the Apple Care Plus. You have the Apple products. You have the Apple Music. You have the Apple TV. You know, you're not going to leave because of it. And they're going to make sure that you don't, right? They'll offer a solution, but it's a sign of the times. It means that, you know, things will continue to change with Apple as they try to make things better for them, as they try to ensure that you're locked in to what they're doing. And it's just another one of those things. It's pretty crazy. I mean, look, I've been around with smartphones since the beginning, from when they first started. I never would have thought, never came to my mind, there would come a day when phones would not have ports, because we had ports for the headphones, we had ports for the charger, you know, and it just never dawned on me that that day was going to come. I just didn't think it was going to happen. It's just so random. I don't know. It's crazy, man. That'll be the day. I mean, I don't even know what I would do at that point. Like, we'll see when it happens. We'll see how we respond and react to it. So that's the Apple news, I guess. iPhone's going portless next generation. All right, let's go to the next story. All right. This one is about T-Mobile. So we finally get to some carrier stuff here. All right, so we did discuss Verizon a little bit. Let's talk about T-Mobile. T-Mobile had a data breach a number of days ago. This is not like brand new news. So it's not breaking. It's not news, in that sense. But it's another one. And this is not good because this continues to happen. The problem with this particular data breach, and there have been others that weren't that bad. There weren't like sensitive customer information that was broken into and compromised. But apparently this one was. It wasn't a lot of customers, but the information that they were getting a hold of was really sensitive. So that information becoming compromised, very risky. It says at least 400 T-Mobile customers have been indicated and identified as having theft to their data after the hackers took over their accounts. Those affected have been notified and remedies have since been offered. This is the third such breach in the last 12 months, and this one actually is probably the worst when it comes to the sensitivity of the info that was compromised. So people's full names, addresses, account numbers, social security numbers, and account PINs, even their secret questions and their dates of birth were compromised in this. Numbers also were being ported out in a SIM swapping move as well. And then they were used in cryptocurrency theft, which would also compromise other accounts. So the concern here is if you were affected by this, the scale of the importance of the information, how sensitive it was really the issue. T-Mobile would have sent you a contact if you were affected. So if you weren't contacted by T-Mobile, there shouldn't be anything to be worried about at this point. But it's worth it to maybe go in and inquire and ask about your, maybe change passwords. Or I don't know. Let me just say this about this situation. I cover all carriers. I try to objectively view them all through the same lens. When I see stories like this, it doesn't matter Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. It's really bad when these stories make it to the press, make it to the media reports, and you look at the sensitivity of the information that is lost or compromised in the hack. Okay, so I'm not here to say that this only happens to T-Mobile. That is wrong. Data breaches happen with all carriers. I've documented them over the last 4 years on my channel. But I'm starting to see a trend. T-Mobile, it happens a lot. I literally feel like 3 times in 12 months is too much. Like, what is going on within T-Mobile's IT team that these things can't be remedied and prevented or dealt with in a better way? So I'm not into IT. I don't know everything there is about IT. So I'm not going to pretend to be some expert. But I just feel like 3 times in 1 year is too much. And the level of sensitivity is just, there's too much at stake. I want to share with you guys some experience I had at Verizon recently. So I went to Verizon. I was having trouble with my device. And they told me to go in and get a new SIM card. So I went in to get the new SIM card. The customer care or the manager who was doing my transaction, she prepped everything and got the SIM card ready. And then she took me to a computer kiosk for me to complete my SIM card transfer. She was not allowed to do it herself. I actually had to do it. You have to show your ID. You got to put in all your sensitive information. You got to put in all your secret questions. They actually cannot change your SIM card for you. You have to do it. They prep it for you. They give you the tools to do it, and then you do it. That's what I'm talking about. Those types of things have to be happening grand scale. Now, I don't know if other companies are doing the same thing. I'm just saying that's how serious these SIM card swaps can be, that even Verizon has gone out of their way to try to develop a system that was going to be more protecting of the customers' lines. So the carriers have to like respond on the fly. They have to, these hacks are getting more and more sophisticated, and our information is always compromised in public, and you're just trying to avoid these scenarios and these situations. I'm just concerned by the level or the lack of protection we're not getting 3 a year from any other carrier. This is concerning. Look, when these hacks happen, what people tend to do is they tend to switch from postpaid to prepaid. So if you're really concerned about your security and your personal information, it almost feels like postpaid is not the way to go. It almost feels like now with carriers moving to multiple line accounts for prepaid, it almost makes sense to go that route. If you don't have trust in your carrier's, IT and data protections, you might as well do something like that. So, I don't know, 2-factor authentication, the text, the email alerts, the locks, the protections. It's worth a shot to take all that to the next level and try to put all those protections in place. But man, this is not a good look for T-Mobile. I would bet you of those like 400 affected accounts, I bet you a lot of them were thinking about leaving T-Mobile. Just like I think if it happened to somebody on Verizon or AT&T, they're probably thinking about, leaving the company for greener pastures, a company that'll protect their data a little bit more securely, Yeah, and I think Teddy's onto something there. Try to use your credit card with theft protection and things like that. So worth something to look into, and, try to protect yourself as best as you can. Michael Pepper Tech says, T-Mobile contacts me anytime I make changes. They called me when we had to turn off autopay for a month. When I switched to Magenta Max, they sent a text and I had to verify my identity first. That's what I'm talking about. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. Those protections are good. Let's go ahead and transition over to the next topic. We're trying to make this good time here. We're about 51 minutes in here. This next topic is actually about Spotify. I'm not sure how many people are excited about this. Maybe some people are. If you're an audiophile, you might be really excited about this news because I guess they never had these types of services and features before. But this Spotify news, it's actually pretty cool. Spotify High Fidelity. I guess Spotify Hi-Fi? Would that be it? I have no idea. They want to introduce lossless streaming. All right, cool. A tier of service with extra fidelity and sound. They will be offering this new high-fidelity sound product and service end of 2021, so at the end of this year. Tidal already does this. So for those that are, I think, if you have a Sprint account, pre-existing Sprint line or whatever, I think this was included in a lot of that. I think Amazon Music has also had high fidelity, but I guess Spotify never did this before. So if you think about Spotify, they're like a big name when it comes to audio, music, podcasts. I'm surprised they never had this. I guess I just never paid attention. The ultra high quality audio, obviously audiophiles rejoice. If you're an audio nerd, then you're probably like thrilled about this. But this is first going to go to select markets for Spotify, and then it'll be grand scale launched. I'm guessing they're going to have kind of like a beta test, give certain people access, and stuff like that. Amazon, I don't know. I'm looking at pricing, and this is kind of an interesting thing here. We don't get details on pricing from Spotify, but I'm assuming it'll be like a premium add-on. Maybe they offer like a 320 kilobit per second type of playback. This will be 4 times the bitrate audio of their current standard audio setting. I know Amazon charges HD customers, I think it's $14.99 per month. And if you're a Prime customer, it's $12.99 per month. I know that Tidal, for their high fidelity service, I think is $19.99 per month. So companies are charging between like $15 and $20 per month, right? So I don't know. Apple Music and Spotify actually lag behind in the high fidelity area. So Spotify hasn't had it. I don't think Apple Music has it yet either. So these could be areas where they could look for growth and try to do an upcharge to get people to look into the high fidelity audio. Something for them to consider. I wonder who's been asking for it. Like, are there customers out there? You guys can let me know in the live, or you can tell me, on the replay crew in the comment section. For those of you that have had Spotify, have you been looking for a high fidelity solution? Have you been looking for an enhanced audio playback codec or sound profile? Because, the only reason they would have made this is if people were asking for it. So how will it scale? Who's going to want it? Is it going to be something that people are looking for? Will it become bundled in some sort of way with, a carrier? I think about that possibility. How do they brand it? How do they market it? I don't know what type of cost they're going to be charging. Because look, Amazon's charging $15 a month for it, $12.99 for the Prime customers, and Tidal's charging $20 for it. I'm assuming that Spotify is going to charge at least $15 and up to $20, right? They're going to want to be with the competition. Otherwise, I don't think people are going to care that much. I don't know if Tidal has a lot of customers that take advantage of that high fidelity audio. I don't know if a lot of people take advantage of the Amazon product. I have no clue. But with other companies doing it and demanding and commanding that extra cost, it must be profitable enough that Spotify wants to look into it and inquire, right? So they probably ran some studies. They probably did some surveys. People probably told them, yeah, we're interested. We're somewhat interested. If Spotify offered a higher quality audio playback service, we would, consider it and buy it. But the one thing I thought about, and maybe Zero Cooler F mentioned it in the live chat, this is going to be more strain on the networks. So, if music playback takes a couple of megabits or something like that on high fidelity, that is more strain on the network. What I've noticed is that I've looked in some of the unlimited plans, and if you look at the details, and I recommend you guys do this, go to T-Mobile, go to your accounts, go to Verizon, go to AT&T, and see what it says about audio playback. See if it tells you what your music streaming playback is throttled to, because some plans indicate it. It'll be like 1.5 megabits per second for audio playback for music streaming. And basically, if you have to run a higher bit rate, you're going to need more bandwidth, right? You're going to need faster speeds on your connection. So if this ends up being a high fidelity, audio playback that requires more bandwidth, will your carrier even support it? So like take, for example, I have the Magenta business line. If that thing's throttled to 1.5 megabits per second for, audio playback, and the Spotify product recommends 2 megabits per second for it, then it's not going to work well. It's going to not allow me to probably get to that high audio playback. So what do carriers do then? Does T-Mobile want to do a deal with Spotify? Does Verizon want to do a deal with Spotify? Does AT&T? And then they build it in as a feature for a certain plan. In partnership with Spotify, get the Spotify membership for $9.99, and you get the prorated, zero-rated data, whatever they call it. That would be interesting to see how that plays out. Otherwise, like Teddy is saying, you would have to work around it with something like a VPN, right? So that way it wouldn't throttle you for the use of that application. Which, look, not everybody wants to pay an additional fee to have a VPN. And of course, free VPNs are not free because you pay for it with your data. All your personal stuff that you do while you're, using that VPN, they can access. So it is something to consider. I don't know how many people are interested in this. I don't know how much demand will be there for this product, but hey, it's something they could consider. All right, so that's really it for the show. That's all I really wanted to cover with you guys. We covered a lot, and again, like I said, I wanted to cover some detail with each of these topics, but there was so much hodgepodge building up over the last week or so, and I wasn't able to get to some of these topics Friday because we didn't do the show Friday. I kind of just bundled it all up and tried to squeeze it all into this hour. So I want to give a big shout out to the 149 viewers that maintained for the duration of the show. You guys are amazing. Thanks for supporting. Thank you for watching. All of those that were here in the live chat and those that were watching in the live. Hashtag 2LiveCrew. Appreciate you guys so very much. Also, hashtag Mod Squad for all my mods. Those holding it down, getting the trolls out of here. Hashtag Replay Gang and hashtag Ravioli Gang for those that were, maybe eating dinner or watching this while they were snacking and what have you. Appreciate you guys very much. If it is your first time here, consider subscribing to the SMT YouTube channel. Join a community of like-minded individuals that love network tech and smartphone technologies. Go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you want to take your wireless network news, network testing, and SMT Nation access to the next level, there is a link in the description for the Patreon page. There's minimal support required, counts as a donation, get additional access to stuff and perks, early access to videos, exclusive content, podcast live streams, and so on. And you guys are amazing. Thanks for supporting me. Thanks for being here to watch. You guys are the best. I want to wish you all a great evening, a great work week, and we'll hopefully see you soon, very soon, on the next one. You guys are the best. Let's go ahead and ride out. Turn that music up. Hashtag Ravioli Gang. Hashtag 2LiveCrew if you watch this in the live. Hashtag Mod Squad to my blue mods. You guys are the best. Am I forgetting one? Hashtag Replay Gang for those watching this. Let me know if you're watching this on replay. Appreciate you guys. Comment below. Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of the evening, and peace. If you hung around till now, I know why. Yeah.